Well, hello there, people. We are at it again. Apparently, we are going to listen to a bearded Chris Titus Tech. I don't know why everyone is starting to grow a beard. Are they lazy like me? I don't know. Ubuntu's decline, I think it says slow and pointless or something like that in the thumbnail. This is done by request. If you want to request a video I should look into, go on to my Discord. I have a section called video ideas. You can just post it in there with, you know, I like to see this. Can you give me a take on this? And, you know, whatever your plan is, basically. Ubuntu is not in a decline. I can say this right now. Ubuntu is still one of the most used distributions, if not the most used distribution. Ubuntu is still one of the 3 most supported distributions, being Ubuntu, Red Hat, and SUSE. That's the distributions companies support. Those are the 3 big hitters. Everyone else are second, third, or fourth class citizenship. Yeah. Also, most of the advancements we have under GNOME comes from Ubuntu. They are working really closely with the GNOME team. But anyway, I just want to put this intro out there because already I hope this is just clickbait, but let's see what the guy that's been using Linux for 3 years and now think he's the fucking guru within Linux have to say. So let's get angry.
This is an absolutely amazing desktop environment, one that led the charge to the ease and use and friendliness of Linux. There's so many great things that it's done since its inception in 2004 that we need to talk about why it declined, why people stopped using it, because it's kind of crazy to
Stopping a lot here, but again, they didn't stop using it. It's still going strong. It's still the most used distribution in the world, at least on the desktop, and I think also in the server market. Maybe second to Red Hat, depending on what metrics we look at. Yeah, it's not slowing down. The only people, let me put it this way, the only people that stopped caring and about Ubuntu and using Ubuntu is the hardcore, elitist Linux nerds. Those are the ones that are going Arch, Gentoo, Linux from scratch, Fedora now is like the flavor of the year. Like every year we kind of have a distribution, or every 6 months. I would say more year. We have like a distribution that kind of becomes, you know, the next big thing. And then like after a year or two, it's another one. Last year it was EndeavourOS. Everyone was talking about EndeavourOS. This year it's Fedora. Next year it could be, I don't know, my left testicle distribution or something like that. Who knows?
Think that one time 10 years ago, pretty much everyone used Ubuntu. So this is a pretty easy answer to get to, and let's just jump right in and launch, and maybe you can just see exactly what I'm talking about. We're launching Firefox. I clicked on it. It takes 3 to 4 seconds to launch.
Was that the first launch, or is it the second launch? Snap packages do have a problem with cold starting, meaning the first time you start snap packages, they are really, really slow. The second time and afterwards, continuous use, they are not that slow. Is it a problem? Yes. Should they fix it? Fuck yes. But it's not part of the decline of Linux. This is some of the things that makes the hardcore Linux nerds not like Ubuntu. But the hardcore Linux nerds is like 1% of 1% of 1% of... Basically, let me look at it like this. If Linux is 3% of the computer market, the users he's talking about now that don't like Ubuntu is like 0.0.0.0.1%.
This is a pretty beefy computer, so a 5600X.
Who cares? Come on.
You know, over 10 gigs of RAM allocated.
Flexing, who cares? Get on with it.
To this right now. It should just be instant. Like when I'm on my regular desktop and I flip over to here, and let's say I want to pull up Firefox on it. Let's just pull it up. It's pretty instantaneous.
Yes, but here's the big fucking problem, you fucking lunatic. You're comparing a native RPM package under Fedora with a snap package. Try and install Firefox under Fedora and see if it's that slow. Again, he is really great at not understanding how to compare apples to apples. The problem with Firefox being slow under Ubuntu is not Ubuntu is slow, it's that snap packages are slow. So if you're comparing a snap package with an RPM or deb file, of course it's going to be slower than they are. But you're not comparing the same technologies, you're not comparing the same type of situation here. If you want to see if Fedora is opening up Firefox faster, with Ubuntu, you have to compare Snap Firefox on Fedora versus Snap Firefox under Ubuntu.
So what's going on there? Why is this spooling happening? Is it a problem with the core of Ubuntu?
No.
Or what? And the answer is very simple. This Firefox, which it should not take this long. Let's relaunch. Maybe it was just something to start up. No, still taking a couple seconds to launch.
Okay, so now he's disproving, he's showing that it's not a cold boot he's doing it with.
Why is it doing that? And it's because it's a snap. It's a snap pack. It's an all-inclusive universal package. This is a horrible experience. This is worse than Windows. It's worse than Mac. It's it's worse than any Linux.
No, it's not. It's not. It would be a worse experience if it didn't work. What it is, it's a slower experience. That's not equal worse, okay? Let's just be honest here. I don't particularly like it myself. I actually hate all of the universal package formats equally. I just prefer using Ubuntu for one fucking reason. Oh, sorry, not Ubuntu. Snap packages for one reason, the syntax. That's not Ubuntu's fault. Right now, he's criticizing Ubuntu for something the Firefox developer demanded them to do. So if he should criticize someone right now, he should be criticizing the Mozilla development team, not Ubuntu. And it's not a bad experience, it's just a slow experience, which is not bad. Heck, some Windows machines and Mac machines take the same amount of time opening up a browser if you have a shit ton of extensions open. So
Linux distribution. When I made the thumbnail, I said slow and pointless when it comes to describing Ubuntu. It's because everything has been put into a snap.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Like, come on, for fuck's sake. No, it's not. A lot of not even a lot of things. I think they're using some of the desktop applications are, but not most things, man. Not most things. Come on, dude. There are select few programs that are snap packages, the rest are not. Like the core components are not, the display manager is not, crop is not, system D is not. Like, I could go on and on and on and on and on about Ubuntu not being snap driven. There is more than last time, but most of them are user centric, like the calculator. I don't even know if Thunderbird is a snap package. Rhythmbox may be. The file manager is not. The App Center is. I don't think LibreOffice is a snap package. I could be wrong. I'm just looking at what is in his taskbar over there, or in his shortcuts. Again, it's a planned statement that has no basis to truth to it. Yes, a lot of snap, or not a lot, but more and more snap packages are becoming snap packages on Ubuntu. That's right. But what he just said is wrong.
You go to launch Thunderbird. There you go. A couple seconds on Thunderbird. I mean, there's very little things that
Show us the file manager. Show us the file manager. No. That's not fitting my narrative.
Not packaging into this horrible package manager. Let's just face it. This is the death of Ubuntu. Snaps, unless they just completely...
No, it's not, because snap packages have been used in the professional world way before we got it. And snap packages was made kind of by request from the professional world. They want it. They really, really want it. That's why they are doing it. They're not doing it for us. They're doing it for all the servers and IT administrators and what have you not out there. So if it was the death of Ubuntu, we would have seen this like 3, 4, 5 years ago. No,
reverse course and rip out snaps and completely abandon it. I see 0 point of having an Ubuntu desktop. But let's go a little bit further. Is this the worst thing Ubuntu's ever done to their desktop? And the answer is surprisingly no, it isn't. Back in, I think it was Ubuntu 14, they were basically reporting back all your search results to either sell as advertisements or just house and...
Again, I hate this argument. Yes, they did it. Should they have done it? I don't know. The fucking idiots on YouTube, they do the same thing. He's using browsers, they're doing the same thing. Everything we do online, again, not everything, I'm over dramatic here. Most things we do online is doing the exact same thing. So why the fuck is he only angry at Ubuntu? Why is he not angry at Facebook? Why is he not angry at Tinder? Why is he not angry at Grindr? Why is he not angry at Pornhub? Why is he not angry at Google? Why is he not angry at his email provider? Why is he not angry at you? What the fuck are you doing on YouTube? Why are you using Google product? Like, come on, is it irritating? Yes, they did it for like 1 or 2 releases. It was something they experimented with. It was a bad experiment. Yeah, I didn't like it. Most people didn't like it. Why they took it out? Okay, this was also in 2016. Ubuntu rectified it. They listened to the community and they took it out. But no, that's not good enough. Let's still fucking yammer about stuff they did in their past because I don't know why.
In there for telemetry. There was a lot of big hubbub in the Linux community at the time about Linux, Ubuntu Linux doing this. It was horrible. And then for several...
It was not horrible. It was just irritating. And it should not have been doing it.
Iterations, we had like an Amazon store here, which I think Amazon paid them money to be included on the desktop of Ubuntu Linux. So they're...
No, I think it was more like an affiliated link. Just like... I don't know. Like this? Like this? Yeah, this is what they did. They had an affiliated link. If that's so bad, why, my dear bearded colleague, why are you having an affiliated link then? Oh, you want to make money so you can keep the amazing content coming and doing what you do as a work. Maybe Ubuntu did not get enough sponsorship and monetization from the community and other places so they could keep their lights on, and they had to try other avenues to get money so they could develop in Ubuntu. Maybe there's something about that. Again, it's not okay if they do it, but it's okay if I do. It's so fucking... These are the things that irritates me with YouTubers nowadays. They're doing everything on... Again, when I say everything, I don't mean everything, but I need to stop doing that. But they're criticizing a lot of fucking other people and programs or companies for doing things that they themselves are doing. Ubuntu put it on the fucking taskbar or shortcut. He puts it in here in the description. Kinda the fucking same shit. They want you to click the link so they can get money from you, okay? Ubuntu stopped it. He's still doing it.
We're trying to obviously monetize somewhat, and I think Snaps kind of falls right into that wheelhouse. You know, I don't think it's spyware by any course of, the imagination.
Please, you fucking idiot, please. Yeah, okay, Snaps do take telemetry, but they are not trying to monetize Ubuntu with Snaps packages. If you go on to Snapcraft or what Snap.io, what the fuck it's called, I can't remember right now, you can actually see what distribution are downloading which package from the Snap store the most. And I think they also take, basic telemetry. But again, almost any fucking software takes telemetry. If you're doing you're under Ubuntu, or let's just say you're under Fedora, he's a Fedora guy. When you're doing a sudo DNF update, you're communicating with the server. So they are taking basically, not much, but they're taking stock of what packages you have installed, telemetry, data. They are looking at, okay, this is what is on this computer, in this IP address, or located, in this place. This is what the updates we have on our server. Now they are communicating, blah, 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 changing data, blah, 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 that are being registered on the server, else they can't update it, blah, 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 and they're sending you the updates. Granted, it's only packaged what you have installed, probably your IP address, your location, but it's still being exchanged with the server, still telemetry. There's things we just can't do without having telemetry. Some just misuse it, don't get me wrong.
But the Snap store is a closed source store, meaning nobody else can open up a Snap store anymore.
And also, who cares if the store is open source or closed source? Who cares? Are you going to do your own Snap store? Who cares? The technology is free and open source. Who cares if the store is proprietary? He's probably already using proprietary software under Fedora. If he's so fucking, it can only be open source and it's really bad if the distribution are using proprietary, especially the Snap store. Who cares? Here's the thing, clean your own house before you fucking criticize anyone else. He is using proprietary software right now. Probably just by recording this fucking video. So hey, what if the store is proprietary? They made the fucking software. They spent probably hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. If they want to proprietary that shit, let them. They did the same with, was it Bizarre, what the fuck it was, like way back in the day. And the community was yelling and screaming about it, that it was proprietary. Ubuntu spent thousands of dollars and many hours reversing to open source. What did the community do? Thank you! And then it just went away. Nobody forked it. I don't even think anybody contributed to it, anything like that. They were just, it's open source. Who gives a fuck? Now it's open source, and they walked away.
Anywhere else, no competing distribution, much like you would with Apple's App Store or Microsoft's Microsoft Store. Those are closed source stores that are tightly controlled. And
or with the official arts repository, they're not closed source, but they're tightly controlled by the package maintainer and the distribution, or the Fedora or the official repos that have no proprietary bits or problematic software in them that is highly moderated by the Fedora team. It's the same thing. One is just open source and one is closed source. There are third-party repos for Fedora and Arch. You can now you can get snap packages from third-party repo also. I think like I said, there's one out there. See if I can find it for you guys, what it's called, or if it's actually existing anymore. I will agree. Yeah, it sucks that there's no third-party stores, but hey. In theory, that's what gave us better curated programs, and we're not getting shit from Bob that don't even know how to fucking spell hello world, and is infecting your system with a breaking bug that makes it fly dildos into your face every time you boot it up now.
That is snaps in Linux in general. So when someone says, I don't have a problem with snaps, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, you probably don't have a problem with the App Store or the Microsoft Store. Or
the Android Store or the iOS Store. I have no problem with those stores. No. And he don't either. He's probably using a mobile phone to have a store that's, an app store, and there's proprietary bits and bobs in that. He's probably using an Android, proprietary. If you're using iOS, proprietary. No, I don't have a problem. Why should I have a problem with it? Open source. The only people that are going to benefit from open source are developers. I am not going to benefit from open source whatsoever, unless I want to contribute to the project, and I can't because it's closed source. Now we have a problem. The only thing that open source give us is that in most instances the software is free of charge. That's the biggest benefit you get as a consumer. You don't have to pay for it. I don't have a problem with people spending their time, their money on a project and then deciding what they want for that project. I have no problem with it. I can just choose to say I don't want to use it. But I have no problem with them doing it. They're just not my kind of projects I want to support then. If I'm using snap packages, I don't have a problem with proprietary software. But some would have. And they would say, you know what? You do this job, you put money into it, you put time and effort into it, you want to proprietary it, that's fine. You do whatever you want, I just don't want to use it. That's the stance you should have. You should not be like, political, and if he has that big of a problem with things being proprietary, just fucking rinse your Fedora distribution from everything that's proprietary, or you kind of look like a fool, okay?
Fine, but at least the App Store and Microsoft Store, the apps actually have about native performance where snaps just do not. They're just bad. So what else has happened in Ubuntu? Like when we pull up stuff in here, I still like the interface. I love this Unity-esque experience, even though this is just GNOME, and some of these packages are a little bit wonky compared to a regular distribution.
What is a regular distribution? Why are the packages wonky compared to a regular distribution? That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. And this is coming from a non-technical guy, a non-IT professional that is stupid like a fucking doorknob, and he should be the intelligent person. Oh, it's just a little bit wonky. Then explain to us what that means. I don't know.
But overall, it's aesthetically pleasing, and I always enjoyed.
Okay, so he meant the aesthetic of it. Okay.
This setup, and I felt like their strengths have always been ease of use. It's just like they'd stopped caring about the user experience, and that just kind of drove me.
No, most of the user experience he is experiencing right now comes from the GNOME developers. Let me try this again so you're really sure that understanding what I'm saying with English not being my first language. Most of the user experience you get from Ubuntu GNOME desktop or the Ubuntu desktop comes from the GNOME developers. Ubuntu have done the dash to panel or dash to dock over here, and they have few of their own programs like the update manager and stuff like that. The proprietary software installer, that's their own. Now, Nautilus or Files as it's called, that's GNOME. Ubuntu just go in and help bug fix it, optimize it and stuff like that. But this, if you run native GNOME, it looks the same. Go into the settings manager, the same. Most of the desktop experience, like I will, if I should put a number on it, I would be like 90% of the desktop experience under Ubuntu comes from GNOME, and 10% is Ubuntu specific. So most of the things he have a problem with, he should be taking up with GNOME and not Ubuntu. So he don't like Firefox. That's Mozilla wanted it to be a snap package, not Ubuntu. Mozilla. He thinks GNOME is being has stagnated a little bit, and they don't care. Or sorry, the Ubuntu desktop is stagnated a little bit, and they don't care about the usability aspect of it. That's GNOME. So he's criticizing Ubuntu already for two things they don't really have a control over, or that much control over. You get what I'm saying here? Is it an Ubuntu problem, or is it a Firefox and GNOME problem?
Me crazy, because this should be the king of all desktops. But it's not. It
is the most installed desktop operating system for Linux that's out there. So by definition, it's the king.
Mentioned Unity and how this looks. That was a great invention of Canonical and implemented in Ubuntu. It was a desktop environment, but they pretty much killed it off. They killed off Ubuntu 1. That was.
So Canonical kills Unity, Mir, and Ubuntu phones. Mir is still alive. Mir is still alive. Mir is still alive. It's just morphed into something for the server market instead of the consumer market and the IoT market. It's still alive. Mir is still running and kicking today. Do your research.
It was like a cloud services endeavor they did. They've had Mir, which was a competing display manager, because a lot of display managers on Linux are a little bit wonky when it comes to like
all of them. They suck.
Exorg or Wayland. Well, they had Mir, and I thought that was kind of interesting. But that also got killed off. Ubuntu Touch, their kind of mobile endeavors when they were doing that. But again, that is killed off as well. So it feels like Canonical is a company without a purpose of having a Linux desktop anymore, and that's why it's
no. Ubuntu's purpose is the same as actually Fedora's. Ubuntu's purpose moved away from being desktop only to being server corporate workstation. They moved over to focus on the corporate world, the professional world, and that's actually what Fedora Workstation is doing. Their main focus for Fedora is the corporate world. Just happens to be what the corporate world want, we kind of also benefits a lot from. Ubuntu, I will say that they are even more focused on server and stuff like that, IoT devices and servers, than I would say Fedora is. So they are putting more effort into this. Why? It pays the bill. Yes, I will 100% agree with that. Ubuntu stopped caring that much about the consumer desktop. But they didn't stop caring about the enterprise world, the developers, the workstations. They didn't stop caring about that. That's why that's again why Ubuntu is one of the official supported distributions for the open source NVIDIA drivers. Not Arch, Ubuntu. Not even Fedora, if we're being honest about it. It's Red Hat. But it will probably trickle down to Fedora.
Declining is when I look at this desktop environment, while it's clean, it's functional, it could be so much better. And it's just
everything can be better. That's a mute fucking criticism.
Not. You're better off with any other distribution as your desktop.
That's opinionated. That's not facts. There is plenty of people. There are hundreds of thousands of people, that millions if you look at the statistics, that actually like the Ubuntu desktop environment.
Top. And it's not to say I would never use Ubuntu. I would never use Ubuntu desktop. Like Ubuntu server, when you load it up for the first time and you come into here, usually the first thing I do is just go into snapd and rip it out. I would just do purge, and then I would do is just like snapd, and then kill it. And then I just remove all of snaps from the system, and then I do an apt hold of snapd, and then continue on building my system on an Ubuntu server base where it doesn't have all this slowdowns, all this garbage.
And then then he comes into a situation where some software is only available as snap packages. We can again debate if that's okay or not. And he has to rely on community third-party PPAs to get software and get security fixes and bug fixes for that software because it's not in the official repos anymore. And now he's potentially opening up his system to be less secure. That's kind of where Ubuntu want to go with snap packages. They want, especially the server market, to be snap packages because it again, theoretically more secure, easier to maintain, and the system administrators and software developers have asked for a universal package format for fucking decades almost now.
Doesn't install Firefox through a snap package, or
you don't need Firefox as a snap package under a headless server. Okay, like that's a bad experience, a bad example there.
Any of that, you don't run into it. I just wanted to install the stock Ubuntu experience and just say Canonical is fine, but you got to realize this is totally a server business-based company now. They don't care about their desktop.
They do, but not that much.
And it shows. It's slow. It's pointless.
It's not slow. It's not pointless. If it was pointless, nobody would be using it. And it's not slow. Snap packages are slow. Again, he's criticizing a distribution for being slow when only part of the technology is being slow. He criticized Ubuntu for lacking something in the desktop that's Gnome's fault, okay? The only thing I will say up to now that he has a valid criticism of that it's being slow and not really well done, at least for us end consumers, is snap packages. Ubuntu as a base, if Ubuntu is slow, do some fucking benchmarks, man. Benchmark Ubuntu versus Fedora, and how slow is it then? Or is it just Firefox you have a bug up your ass over? Or is it just the snap package because files or the file manager, that open quite quickly? Because it's not as far as I know, it's not a snap package. So yeah, Ubuntu's not pointless. Ubuntu's not slow. Snap packages are slow. And Ubuntu do heavily use snap packages, which is a problem. But you have to criticize the right technologies at the right time, and you have to criticize them for the right reasons, something you would know being a tech guru.
And that's really why I made this video, was just kind of say like this: can they turn it around? What's the future like? Like, is probably the last thing I want to leave you with. And if they continue down this path, forcing snaps on their users, well, Linux users have options. They have tons of options, more options.
Yeah, they have, but most people don't have a problem with snap packages.
Than they know what to deal with. And Ubuntu just will not be one of those options. They will just simply install another distro, and that'll be fine. But they could also reverse course. Like I said, the foundation, the base, I see that this could be a really, really good operating system.
Because it has snappy windows.
And it could be a fantastic Linux distribution like it once was.
And still is. It just has... No distribution is perfect. Show me a distribution and we can all find problems with that distribution.
But they actually need to start listening to somebody. They actually need to start using their desktop.
They do. What the fuck do you think that all the fucking Ubuntu developers are using Fedora? Again, Ubuntu is the most used distribution out there. Ubuntu Canonical are using Ubuntu. There are so many fucking companies running Ubuntu, probably more than Fedora and Red Hat. Could be debated about Red Hat, but at least I'm sure about Fedora. It's being used by people. They are listening to people. They are just not listening to you, okay? Apparently, what they are doing is working because they keep doing it. Snap packages came out of demand, okay? What they are doing is what the people that are using Ubuntu is asking for. Again, it just happens to not be desktop users. Why? Because Linux is not a desktop operating system. We are so stupid that we are making something into something it's not. Not Ubuntu, but Linux kind of have morphed itself into not being a desktop operating system by its core. But we just shoehorn it into be, and it's a great desktop operating system if you're okay with the quirks that it has as an operating system, desktop operating system. Look at it like that. It's kind of like us taking a garbage truck and trying to make it into a family 6 or 4-door saloon. Can it be done? Can you make a garbage truck into a family van? Yeah, you can, put some seed in it, clean it and all that fucking shit, but it will never be as good as a family wagon or car as a purpose-built family car. Linux has and never will be a purpose-built desktop operating system because that's not where the focus is. It can be used as it, but that's not where the focus is.
Environment, because I think they're all programmers on like Windows and Mac machines up in Canonical, and I don't think that.
Do they have Windows and Mac systems? Probably yes, to check compatibility. Show me a fact. It would be stupid. It would be stupid for a company to majority use Windows when they are a Linux development company. Do they have Windows machines? Yeah. Go ask Alan Pope, or what his name is, can't remember his last name. Go ask him. Go look at other developers from Ubuntu. I have not seen any developers that have worked from Ubuntu in the past running Windows now that they are not working for Ubuntu. And running Windows while they were working for Ubuntu. They had separate laptop. I've seen people working for Ubuntu have a separate laptop with Windows on it to test stuff on it. But their main driver was Ubuntu. I honestly, saying stuff like this, back it up with facts or shut your mouth. Or at least say, I've heard this, because he has nothing to base this on.
They actually use it, because if you start using this,
they do.
It's not a good experience.
Again, if you don't like the Ubuntu desktop, talk with Gnome. Because Ubuntu don't do much to the desktop. They put a bar with icons on it. That's it. The biggest difference between Ubuntu desktop and Gnome is the bar. And probably some optimization that you don't like, not UI optimization, but software and hardware optimization.
It's slow. It feels bad.
No, snap packages are slow and snap packages feel bad, not Ubuntu as a whole. Make sure that you distinguish that, please.
It's pointless. So, that's where I'm going to leave this one. Kind of a short video, but...
Yeah, and I already ran it for fucking almost 15 minutes. I normally don't call people unintelligent about a subject. But I think this is badly researched. That's why I will leave it. And there's a curve where when you start to learn about a subject, you think you know a lot about it, then you figure out you don't know a lot about it, and you go down to your actually skill level, and then you start to work up to actually have knowledge about a subject. I think he's in that group of people that know the basics but think that they are fucking experts about it. There are probably things under Linux that he knows better than any of us, like setting up a Linux server, for example. But when it comes to Linux desktop, either he does do his research, or he gets his information from fucking weird places and using outdated information that's not current. Like we saw with the Amazon link and stuff like that. They don't do that anymore. So why even hold that against them? Like, it makes no sense. It's like, again, we all have done shit in our past. Like I said, he probably been coked up at some point and fucking put his penis into a fucking electrical socket or something like that and fried a hamster. Should he still be fucking, judged by that today? No. It was in the past. He has paid for it. He had to get Band-Aid on his penis, his little penis, So either he don't research his shit, he gets outdated information, or he just think he knows more than he do. And we all do that to some extent if you get too arrogant and we think we know more. Again, that fucking Donicon or what the fuck is curve or what it's called. We all get trapped in that fucking notion there. This is a typical Quiz Tech video. A lot of things presented as facts or opinion without any data to back it up. Canonical use Windows. They probably have Windows machines, but don't you think they use their fucking desktop? They have like a desktop team in there. Their whole purpose is to make the desktop better. So how the fuck can they do that working on Windows, okay? It's statements like that either it don't make sense, common sense say it don't make sense, or he's not showing us where he got the information from, so we cannot be like, okay, now we see what you mean by this. Makes him really untrustworthy, and makes him look like he actually don't know what he's talking about. I'm not saying he don't do that, but it looks like that with the videos he makes. In my opinion, of course, because he's throwing a lot of shit out there that could be easily understood if he's backing it up with facts or out clips, or like he did with those articles he just did here. Do that with the fucking Windows machine and Canonical. He's giving out more bad information than he gives out good information. And it's misleading a lot of people. I have so many people coming in here and talking about it, and it really makes me angry. See you all later. Bye-bye.